Hello, everyone, and welcome back to What's Your Mess? Mental, Emotional, Social Status of Life. I am Tracey D Armstrong, your host for this evening, and I have again another special guest. Today, I have Mrs. Sandra Luckey. Go ahead, Miss Sandra, and introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sandra Luckey, and I am, uh, first of all, I'm excited to be here with you all and be a guest on Tracey Armstrong's show. Um, I'm kind of lost for words right now because I'm excited. Just being real, that's me. But I have a book. I'm an author, and this is my book, you all. It is called My Book of Poems, Pouring Out Emptiness More. Everything is not always what it seems. So yes, I have several different things that I venture into. I also have um, a live on Facebook. So just a few things about me.
Yes, I know you have an amazing book of poems, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But right now, can you tell everyone? I know you wasn't always an author and things like that. Can you tell everyone a little bit about your mess and what you've gone through?
Whew, that's a whole lot of mess. All right, now it's a flood. It's a flood. Well, one of the things that has been my mess was that um, I come from being abused. So in the past, coming from abuse leaves a huge mess because it leaves you broken mentally, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, financially, socially, all of those ways. So for me, the mess of trying to get through all of that is and was trying. So I would say that was my
So you said, just to go back on what you just said, you said you were a victim of abuse, and of course, most definitely that's mentally, emotionally, like you said, physically, psychologically, all of
yeah.
those things. So how did that affect you mentally? Like, could you tell us a little bit about your story, if you don't mind?
No problem. Well, I would say let's start from when I got married. It started right after I got married with my first husband. And he wanted to make sure that I knew that I wasn't going anywhere, that I was his, and so on and so forth. So going into that, it traumatized me mentally because I couldn't figure out where that was coming from or why it would happen, so mentally and emotionally staying in that relationship because it progressed. So mentally, it took me out of whack. Like what what really is happening. And then having my children, that was it was just painful all the way around. So there is no mental preparedness for being abused because regardless of what you think you are ready for, you will not be because it snatches you to different areas.
And okay, you just unloaded a lot, and I'm taking it all in because I'm picturing this, and you use the word traumatizing, and I'm like, okay, I can only imagine the trauma. And then you said, then you had children. So if you don't mind me asking, did you have children while you were in the abusive relationship or in the marriage? It was an abusive
Yes,
marriage.
it's a marriage. Yes.
Okay. And so How was that emotionally? Because I know, like you said, your mental state and your mindset, you couldn't even really think, and you can't even imagine. Like I'm thinking about, I can't even imagine being in that
Yeah.
situation. But emotionally, how were you affected?
Oh, it was a literal roller coaster. Not even to, if you've ever been on a roller coaster and you feel the rocking of it, letting you know that something is wrong, and you feel the gravity of the pull on whatever train you're in, and you feel it going towards the ground, but there's nothing you can do until you can get off, and you're wishing and hoping that you had not gotten on the ride in the first place, and that you're able to get off of it safely. It puts you in that type of mindset on a regular basis. What is going to happen? How did I even get here? Why can't I leave? And so mentally, it it literally threw me. It took me a very long time to try to grasp the fact that it was actually really happening. Because mentally, you like trying to figure out, how do I fix this? What do I do? And what did I do? All of that. And as far as my children were concerned, mentally and emotionally, it just tore me up, because not only did I end up having to try to protect myself, I was trying to protect them, trying to figure out how to get away and all the stuff. He snatched up one of my babies with a belt, and when I went to save her, I got knocked cold out. So it's just the mental state, like what? It's unreal. It's unreal.
And with that, like that was a great analogy. You said like the roller coaster. And so I could tell from your comments, you were questioning yourself. You were
Oh
questioning,
yeah,
how did you get into it? How do you get out of it? Like, is this real? Is this really happening?
right.
So let me ask, how long were you in that relationship or in that marriage?
11 years.
11 years. Wow. And then, so what you just said, he wasn't just abusive to you, he was also abusive to the children, because
Yes.
it was like a trickle down effect, pretty
Yes.
much. Okay. So with that, how did all of that affect you all socially with
Mm.
friends or family?
First off, the embarrassment. The embarrassment was huge for me, because I've always been an outgoing person. I've always been the hugging person. I've always been the, oh, let me help you with this person. And excuse me, I've always been the protector in my family. I've always been the one to, we get ready to go. Let's go. I got it. I'm gonna take care of it. Don't even worry about that. So when that happened, it kind of threw all of that away, because people were like, wait a minute, what's wrong? Because I got standoffish. I was, I'm trying to hide my face and all of that. So that would be, that's one. The second biggest thing for me was even wanting to tell people that I was married, because how do you how do you do that? How do you say I'm married to someone that says they love you, but you're dying every day behind closed doors? That's not that's nothing you want to ring a bell about. and talk about it. So yeah, socially and in other ways too, it was painful. And not to mention that when my youngest daughter was born, she was born with her leg already snapped backwards and she had little bruises all over her. So even to present my baby was painful, because people ask me, what happened to her leg? You know, so it's a lot. It was a lot then. And I'm healing forward now.
Yes, yes, you are. And not the last question, but I'm listening to you and I'm listening to 11 years, children in the
Yeah,
picture. Oh man, you said the embarrassment, not wanting to even let people know that you were married.
yeah,
And I could just imagine, like you said, you were real social and you were out there and
yeah,
and then you were trying to hide. I'm assuming hide your face and hide your bruises or hide,
yeah.
and not to be as social as you were. How did that affect your status of life? Because, like, sounds like your life
Mm,
changed.
it did dramatically, dramatically. I literally went into it. It was truly unreal. I went into a state of shock, so to speak. So I consider it to be like I was here, but I was, this cannot be my body. This can't be my life. So I don't get it. So it's yeah, I can't. There, there are no real words. Uh, the 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 pressure that it puts on you to be who you used to be, and because you haven't come from where you are now, there's no way you could be who you used to be, because who you used to be was flourished with happiness, with joy, with love, with certainty. But abuse threw me into the opposite of all of that. So it really took a large toll on me financially, emotionally, all of those ways that I mentioned earlier, which is why I try to do what I do now, and that is talk to people.
And I've heard you talk before, and your talks are amazing. And the fact that you
Yeah.
tell your story and you're vulnerable about it, and you express what you've gone through and what you've come through. Can you tell the audience a little bit about, because this is what I know people are saying. I know people are sitting back saying, well, if this was happening, why did she stay for 11 years? And why didn't
Yeah.
she get out of it sooner? Because I know that's what some
Yeah.
people will ask. So I'm going to ask a two-part question. It's two parts, okay? The first part is going to be what
Okay, two
people are going to
parts.
be asking themselves or asking, the back of their head, well, why did she stay so long? That's the first part. But then the second part is, how did you come out of your mess? So,
Okay, good questions,
however
Pat.
you want to frame it, however you want
Well,
to, because I know it goes
the
together. I
reason why
know, I know why you were in it
it does.
for 11 years, and I know how you came out of it. But let the audience know a little bit more about what happened, if
That's
you don't
not a
mind.
problem.
Okay.
Well, going through it, um, it kind of, truth be told, it pushed me to get closer to God, because I was really upset with him and I couldn't get what was going on, why he would want me to be married to something that would try to kill me when he said that I'm supposed to be on a paradise earth. I'm trying to figure out how that went together. Honor your husband and, all of that, it wasn't working in my head. So I stayed, one, because of believing that that's what God wanted me to do. And that is to honor your husband and to not divorce, because God hates the divorcing. So that was one. Two was not knowing what to do if I was to leave, where I was to go, what was going to happen. And as a matter of fact, when I was able to leave, those things came up. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Who can help me? All of these things. And that the other part of the question, the B part, how I got out. Well, God literally saved me. I guess I was I guess I was one of his kids that was like, do you not read the messages I'm sending you? So he had to come and tell me himself. One day when and it was on a Sunday too. And my husband at that time had me choked. He was strangling me, and I was at the top of our front door, and I could hear my eyes popping out of my head, and I could feel the blood vessels snapping, and I could feel it as well. So I'm like, what in the world? So long story short, long story short, he came and he told me, I know the plan that I have for you. And it is not to hurt you, but it's to prosper you. That scripture. So when he said it to me, I was just like, what? So I went through a few experiences where during that same time where I was given instructions to play dead, and when I played dead, he dropped me to the floor. And that's where I stayed, at the bottom of the floor, and I was told to play dead. And so I did. I followed all the instructions, and I was just amazed. So going back into when I did get away, he was finding me. Everywhere I would go to, whether it was to a friend's house or, you know, my mother's house or wherever I went, he would find me, and I couldn't figure out how that was happening. So in order for me to really, truly get free, I had to not tell him, none of his people, none of my people, nobody that he knew, nobody that I knew. And that's how it started getting better, where he wasn't able to find me, and I was constantly moving. Those movies that you see where the woman and or the father and or the kids are running on a constant basis trying to hide, that's exactly what happened. So that's how I was able to do it.
Wow. Every time I hear you tell that story, I'm still like,
It was crazy.
because I can just, I can imagine, I can picture that picture very vividly of how you're saying how it all came to pass when the voice spoke to you and your spirit gave you directions and instructions on what to do. And that is just, let me tell you, your story, and I told you this before, but I want to tell the listeners, your story is going to encourage and help someone who is going through the same situation that you were going through. And let me just ask this, so you were in the marriage for 11 years. How many years have you been out of that abusive relationship?
Probably now about, I would say, a strong, there's a bird going by the window. Um, that is amazing. He's just sitting there watching. forgive me. But I would say now a strong uh maybe 30 years.
Yes, 30 years
Yeah,
out of it and continually healing forward. And now
continual healing.
speaking to others,
Yeah.
encouraging others. Let's talk about what all you do to encourage and to uplift others. Your book, you showed everyone your book earlier. Can
Yeah.
you bring that book back out for us? And it's a book of poems. Look at that. Look at
Yes.
that cover, y'all. Like when I saw the cover, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Would you
And
like to
some
share?
I want to say one thing about the book. And if I could read a poem from it, I'd like that. But I want to show the back of the book because many people may know her. Her name is Yolanda Floyd. She is one of my children from that abusive marriage. And she is striving to be whole. She's healing. So it's a lot involved with abuse. And I want people to know how important it is to get free because it's not only you that suffer, it's your children. It is the people that are around your children. And it goes into your entire life. So to jump ahead of that, as one of the great mentors have said, you find out what is needed and then you jump in front of that and you go forward from there. So I'm going to share one of the poems I like. I get a lot of interest from people about this poem, and it is called, as soon as I find it, I'm sorry, it got thrown off, A Divided Love.
Mm, no problem. Take your time.
Thank you. It says, I sit and wonder why love has come, only to become a divided one. When we lay our heads in the same bed, knowing that in the morning within my bosom, my love for you was kept warm and dear, and always near. Ain't only to please you, why has a divided love come? As if I was in despair when I was living my life like Mary J said, I was just fine, fine, fine. Never to worry about what I was to eat, nor where I was to sleep, not even what to put on my feet. But look at me now. And I bet you don't even need a wink of sleep. You're even going to be mad because I wrote this book of poems about a divided love. When I write it all down, then it becomes clear. For I've known a love like this, of which the Bible told us, that's made pure, a love that comes to still kill and destroy. Was this the love that came to devour like a vampire comes to suck on one's neck in the midnight hour? I feel as if this is it. A love that came to kiss me and feet, to see if I would be defeated or would I defeat, which would hold too powerful for me. Well, I tell you now, although I was stripped of all I had, I took fleet to a love I know was the reason for the footprint in the sand. For his is not a divider. And that's one of the poems from my book of poems. That's one of my favorites.
Ooh, okay. So tell me this, how can I get the book? How can listeners get the book?
Well, you can contact me, DM me, um, link up with me on Facebook, Instagram, any one of those sites, YouTube. You can also email me at luckysandra78@gmail.com. And you can purchase the book by going to my book of poems on Cash App. And It's that dollar sign, I think,
Mhm.
the dollar sign and the Cash App, and look me up from there.
Okay.
And order
Well,
your
I
copy.
will. Yeah, I will have all of that information at the end of the episode. So I'll have the book information. I'll have all of her social media information. So make sure you stay tuned to the end and check out all of that information, so we can get that book of poems, because that, woo, divided love, brought back
Thank you.
memories. So,
I'm telling you.
but we can't go
That
there
part,
today. Okay.
like, wait a minute.
Exactly.
I was
So,
just fine, fine, fine.
but I do want to say this. I do want to say that I want to encourage you to keep going, keep pushing, keep
Thank you.
motivating, keep encouraging, keep your spirits going, because I know that it is a daily task
It is.
to keep your spirits where they need to be, to make sure you do what you need to do, because you have a calling and a purpose on your life. And your calling is, in my thoughts, based on from what I know, is that your calling and your purpose is to help women, or men, or anyone who's in any type of domestic violence or
Yeah,
abuse, come out and come through.
yeah.
So, are there any last words that you would like to leave with our audience?
Yes, a whole bag full.
Come on,
First
let's
of
go.
all, first of all, I want anyone who is having any type of abuse or anything, even to oneself, I want you to know that you are loved, that you are cared for, that you are thought of, and that you need more than what abuse wants you to think you do. You are special, you are important, you are beautiful, and you have a purpose. The only time anything comes to feel feeling this good is if you have a value. My suggestion is that you love yourself enough to find your value, to know it for yourself, and to move forward someday. There are many, many places that you can start to look. You can get help. One of the places that I have found help is linking up with the APS team. And when I tell you, APS and this team is powerful, separate, powerful. And when we are told that God gave us love, power, and a sound mind, not fear, this group, led by Antonio T. Smith Jr., they give so much till you can't help but to start to feel and to know that you are more important than what abuse calls and wants you to accept. So I would say start with you and start linking up with people that will help you to see your value, because that's what I do. Follow the instructions. Follow the instructions.
That is amazing. Those were some awesome, awesome last words of encouragement. And I like when like you said about the value, and I was over here like, if you didn't have any value, there would be no reason for you to be attacked. So
Exactly.
think about it. If you are under attack, it's because there's something valuable within you that the enemy is trying to keep from getting out there. So, everyone that's listening, there's some type of value that you have in your life. And like she just said, you have to realize your value.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to add to some of the things, not add, but reiterate some of the things that you said while you were going through your mess. I just want everybody to remember there's no reason for you to be embarrassed about
Yeah.
the abuse, and don't blame yourself. It is not your fault. it is not your fault. And you can come out of your situation just like Miss Sandra Luckey did. But you have to have the courage and you have to follow that voice, that spirit that's within you when it gives you the instructions on when, where, and how to get out of your mess.
Yeah.
And I want to close with these last words. If you want to stay sad, think about the past. If you want to be anxious, think and worry about the future. If you want to live in peace, think about the present state that you are in and be grateful for the things that you have. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe at Tracey D Armstrong on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. This is Tracey D Armstrong with What's Your Mess? Mental, emotional, social status of life. Have a good one, y'all.